Today on Getting Real with the Housewives, Margaret Joseph's response to things getting physical in New Jersey as Jennifer and Danielle are suspended.
It's unacceptable. It's like it's gone too far.
Plus, Kyle supports Mauricio on Dancing with the Stars as Bethany Frankel slams Taylor Swift amid her romance rumors with Travis Kelce. And Jackie Goldschneider opens up about how Teresa Giudice's cheating accusations triggered her eating disorder.
You know, we've been through it. We know that we have, and we've both not been very nice to each other.
And Real Housewives of New York star Erin opens up about being ganged up on in Anguilla.
It bothered me that she tried to get everyone to gang up on me.
Yeah.
It bothered me that they were in the moat saying she talked about you to Jessel.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Getting Real with the Housewives. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here, and welcome to another big week of Getting Real with the Housewives. Dancing with the Stars kicked off. We have some more Shannon Beador news. Before we get into it all, we want to see what you guys had to say about last week's show. Boston Love says, I think that John doesn't want to be in a serious relationship with her because of her drinking and she doesn't know how to stop. I pray that this will be a huge wake-up call and her life will get better. Of course, talking about Shannon, she has been seen with John since she was arrested for DUI. Watching back this season, it was definitely a toxic relationship, so maybe they both need to just part ways. Lisa says, too much drinking on the show. She needs to leave the show and focus on her sobriety. She clearly has a problem. Seems to be a running trend in the comments this week. And Nicole says a lot of housewives are falling apart in front of our eyes. Maybe it's time for Bravo to care about their talent and not their wallets. Well, that comment comes on the heels of Bravo and NBC actually changing their guidelines when it comes to physical altercations. You know, maybe it'll come into play for drinking and things like that as well. But it did go into full effect this week because Jennifer Aydin and Danielle are currently suspended from filming season 14 of Real Housewives of New Jersey. We have the exclusive details on what led to the suspension. So according to a source, the co-stars got into a mutual physical altercation on September 21st over several issues. Now, Jennifer and Danielle got in a fight about a hairdresser they both use and money for a charity event that Danielle allegedly didn't donate to. An insider added that they are likely going to face some sort of long-term suspension. Now, Jennifer didn't face serious injuries, but allegedly also suffered from some light bleeding after the incident, which took place while cameras were rolling. The source also told us, before confirming that the rest of the cast is still filming through the end of the month, that Bravo released the new rules about the physical altercations the day after the fight. The insider added that Jennifer, who first pushed Danielle, was on the mend after the small injury, which came as a result of a plastic cup being thrown at her. Like we said, these two are suspended. Bravo is not messing around anymore. I mean, things have gotten physical in Jersey for quite some time. Remember, Margaret Joseph's got her hair pulled. I mean, we had the table flip. There's been a lot of physical fights here, but I think we're just kind of over it. Like, we don't need to be throwing glasses at each other. We don't need to be pulling each other's hair. I mean, these are grown adult women with children and with careers. Like, we don't need to stoop to this level. And it's not just Jersey, it's across the board. We've seen it on Potomac several times. We've seen it in Atlanta. We've seen these physical fights happening, and they really got to stop. And I recently caught up with Margaret Josephs, who agreed with this. While she was not at the event where this all went down, she feels like the physical fights have got to stop. So she opened up about that and how she feels about filming with Louie after he was accused of hiring a private investigator to look into the cast. Take a look. You know, there have been some news reports that Jennifer and Danielle, there may have been a physical altercation. I know you weren't there.
Yeah, thank God.
When it comes to stuff like this, where do you stand when it comes to...
Unacceptable. It's like it's gone too far. And I think, you know, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
We're all grown adults, and it's not of the climate. It's not acceptable. We're all grown women. Everyone has to be able to control themselves. We've evolved out of that. And, you know, as a collective, we've all discussed that also. And we said, we're never doing that again. We're never doing that again.
Do you feel like you've evolved in the way that you probably would handle certain situations?
For sure. Ever since my hair was pulled, you know, I had thrown a drink that day, and because I felt like somebody was in my space, you know. And I was like, those days are over. You know, after that happened, I was like, what are we doing? It's gone too far. I mean, Teresa cleared a whole table on me. I didn't retaliate. I didn't do anything back. I have seen, you know, those days are over.
Were you optimistic going into the season that maybe Teresa, Melissa, and Joe would eventually get on the same page?
No,
not at all.
Not optimistic at all.
Not optimistic at all. Do you feel like that is completely just...
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. And you know what? And I, it's sad. And I really did try during last season to speak to both of them for healing, but it's gone too far. You know, certain boundaries were crossed that you just can't recover from.
How did you feel going into the season about Louie?
I have no feelings about him whatsoever. As far as I'm concerned, I do not want. I don't have any ill will. I just do not want to associate with him or have anything to do with him.
Yeah. Yep. Guess she doesn't think about Louie very much. All right. Well, speaking of Jersey, Jackie Goldschneider stopped by our studio to talk about her new book, The Weight of Beautiful, which goes into great detail about her eating disorder. And this was a decade-long illness. And she hit a new low when Teresa accused her husband, Evan, of having an affair. Now, here's what she had to say about that. You write about the whole Teresa Evan cheating drama and how that really
affected me.
Yeah, really put you in a dark spot. I mean, what was it about that may have, even taken you over the edge even more?
Yeah, I think I felt really horrible about my desire to be on this show. I begged Evan to let me be on the show. He didn't want to do it at first, and I had promised him that it was only about the women, that he was like an accessory, nothing would be about him and nothing would impact him. And so when suddenly his reputation was being talked about everywhere, I felt so much tremendous guilt, and he was really upset about it. And then, social media was just a disaster, and everyone was choosing a side, and people were saying that he's cheating, and they know the trainer, and people were just coming out of the woodwork with all of this crap. I get it. I put myself on a reality show, but also it was really hard, with no cameras, to just be at home scrolling through social media and see all of that. And my kids knew what was going on because people at their school watched it, and their parents talked about it. So it was everywhere, and I couldn't deal with it. And my way of dealing with trauma was to not eat. Yeah. So I got to a point where I was just not eating anymore, and I would just I was just over exercising and not eating, and the whole thing and the mental portion of it and everything, my world went so dark, and I found myself in a really unhealthy place.
Sure. How does Teresa feel about what was written?
Yeah, I mean, she's okay with it.
She's okay with it?
Yeah. I mean, all this stuff is in our past, and we both acknowledge that, we've been through it. We know that we have, and we've both not been very nice to each other, and it's okay. We're through it.
It's definitely a must-read book for housewives. I talked about this before, and why, usually with these housewives books, you're like, whatever, it's just another fluff book. But this was definitely eye-opening, and she really went through something very traumatic, and it's great that she's opening up about it. All right, well, Emily Simpson hopes that Shannon Beador turns a corner in light of her recent DUI arrest. She told Entertainment Tonight, "I feel like as a cast, we've seen her spiraling. We've had conversations just as a cast about her, worrying about her." She added, "I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, hope that sometimes people actually hit rock bottom and take accountability, and to have an aha moment where they say, yeah, maybe I do need some help, and I hope that this is her aha rock bottom moment." She further explained that hopefully Shannon can recognize the severity of her actions and use it as a springboard to make a change for the better. I think everybody is in agreement on this one. This could have been it was a severe, bad situation, but it could have been a million times worse. Luckily, nobody got hurt. So, hopefully this is her wake-up call, and she does get the help that she needs. We heard this week that Animal Control is now investigating the situation as well, because her dog Archie was in the car with her, and she had then gotten out of the car, pretended she was walking the dog, so police didn't think that she was the one that was driving the vehicle. In our other show, Legally Us, we heard that this really has no merit, so it seems like Archie will be A-okay. So if you want a full breakdown of that, make sure to go watch that show. Let's move on over to Dancing with the Stars, because Mauricio made his big debut. Kyle was in the audience, but Kyle also spoke this week about her recent trip to Europe with Morgan Wade. Of course, amid all this fan speculation that the two are dating, she said, "We were in Paris shooting the documentary that you guys probably heard about online. There's just so many things out there online. I'm like, why do people just make things up, invent things about the trip? Well, why don't you just tell us what's going on, Kyle?" She spoke about her estranged husband joining Dancing with the Stars. She confirmed that she would be supporting him. Like we saw, she was in the audience. She said, "Yes, I will be there cheering Mauricio on with my girls. I feel like he's going to do great. He's very excited. He's really, really enjoying that. So I will be there cheering him on for sure." We saw Kyle in the audience with her daughter. And Mauricio does open up on the show about having a really rough year in his marriage. He's hoping that dancing can kind of take the focus away from that, but it's nice to see them supporting one another. He was in the bottom too. I was surprised. Yes, he was low on the leaderboard, but he wasn't at the very bottom, but he was saved for another week, so we'll see if he improves next week. All right, well, Bethany Frankel jumped on the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce train, and she slammed Taylor for acting over the top while supporting Travis at the Kansas City Chiefs game. So she spoke out on TikTok, her favorite thing to do, and while she said that she's not a Taylor Swift fan, she does have tremendous respect for her, but then went on to say it felt like a Chia pet of a relationship. Like, just add water. Like, they were together for 10 years, like she's a full football wife. She literally looked like she had been in a serious relationship with this guy for decades. She pointed out that the singer gets really into the guy she's with before calling NFL fans wary of newcomers. She went on to say that it took Giselle 10 years for football fans to really welcome her as Tom Brady's wife. You know what? Taylor Swift looked like she was living her best life at the Kansas City Chiefs game. Travis Kelce looks like they're having a lot of fun. So be it. If they're having a good time, why should it let it bother you? It seems like the Swifties are on board for this one. The football fans are on board. I mean, his jersey sales went up 400%, so I think everybody's winning in that situation. All right, well, the ladies of RHONY wrapped up their trip to Anguilla, and it ended with Erin in the hot seat. She broke down the interrogation with us, and if she has a checklist on Jessel. Take a look.
What did you make of her checklist on you?
I think it's unfair
Yeah.
considering, like, Sai gave her a lot this season, and I kind of felt like I was the scapegoat throughout all of it because I am a little bit lighter, and maybe she's not afraid of me. I don't really know, but it felt a little unfair.
I think you said in next week's episode that you were now maybe scared to be friends with her or to having that close of a friendship with her. Do you still feel that way?
No,
Okay.
because I know her.
Yeah.
But I think at that time I was just so like taken aback by the reaction because she's so sweet most of the time. Like I knew she had like a spicy side, but she's just I just adore her. Like I really do. And even I almost appreciate seeing that other side of her because it almost brings like a depth to her that I didn't fully understand. And even the way she talks about it after, where she's like, I know I get hot, but like, it's because I love you so much. And it's like, it sounds like kind of crazy, but it's also, I love her more for it because we did have such a close, like I probably wouldn't have been like crying and upset if someone else reacted like that.
No, you get mad at the people that you care about the most.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because we love each other so much, it was such a real argument. And like, there's a beauty in that too.
So we're good.
Oh yeah,
We're good. But she does kind of bring up, some past issues that obviously you and Bryn had with Abe and things like that. Watching that back now,
that bothered me.
It's still,
and she knows that. It bothered me that she tried to get everyone to gang up on me.
Yeah.
It bothered me that they were in the moke saying she talks shit about you to Jessel. Honestly, like I should not be the one getting in trouble for talking shit about Jessel. That there's a whole other group of people. I was the scapegoat, and it was not fair. And I think Jessel will attest to that. I mean, now that everything's out in the open and people know who was talking, it really wasn't me. Was I part of it? Yes. Did I laugh sometimes? Yes. Do I think Jessel can say silly things? Absolutely. Do I think sometimes she misappropriates stories? For sure. I do feel like I was really a scapegoat, and I don't think it was fair to have everyone sort of gang up on me in that moment when it was like an isolated incident.
Sure.
All right, well, let's get into our social spotlight of the week where we discuss which housewife caught our attention on social media. Mine went to Heather Gay. She posted her full Trixie Mattel drag outfit look, and I love that a few of the ladies fully committed to this challenge. Whitney decided to take over from Meredith and have this really fun drag makeup. Shout out to Lisa Barlow for spending $60,000 a year on glam so she can go to the grocery store. She didn't want to participate, but you know what? That's what makes a great housewife. Love her or hate her, she makes a great housewife. All right, well, that is it for this week's episode of Getting Real with the Housewives. If you want some more Housewives news, head on over to usmagazine.com. Let us know in the comments what you're most looking forward to about the upcoming Jersey season because it's going to get juicy. All right, keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we'll see you guys next week.